Take 3. All right, now this video details part of a campaign setting I called the World Unknown, which is it is like my own post-apocalyptic version of the Mystara campaign setting that was created for Dungeons and Dragons years and years and years ago. So this is very different, and the people who will know sort of what I'm talking about for this, those are my friends on the Piazza who've sort of read some of this, and I will try to provide a link in in a comment in case anybody wants to find out more. And there's an overarching sort of storyline that I can't really get into with this one specific part. But this region that I'm detailing is called the Tharheim region. After the end of the Devastation War in AC 1074, a great deal of what was once Angmar, or Old Alfheim, or the Republic of Darokin came under the control of either the Orcs of Thar or the expansionist Hin of what is now the Empire of the Ten Shires. However, there are parts of Old Darokin that are dangerous and unclaimed, and the western lands of that region are now collectively referred to as the Stria lands, politically. These Darokin wilds are a mixture of badlands, dead forests, desert, poor grasslands, and scrubland. Most of the badlands and desert are under the sway of powerful desert fae, and the large fae encampment called Azurwind is the de facto capital of the region known as the Stria lands. However, these fae rarely get involved in the politics of the humans, dwarves, elves, orcs, and outcast Hin live in the villages of the Stria lands. They concern themselves more with the wilds and making sure they are protected from outside invaders and internal warmongers. If you look at the map, you can see part of what is left of the Broken Lands and the Principalities of Galantry in the northwestern lands of this region. A massive crater in what was once Baeticus boils with lava and spews ash. It is a remnant of a crashed alien sphere ship during the Devastation War. An ancient red dragon of alien origin has taken up residence near the crater in an active volcano. The dragon's true name isn't known, but those that have seen it say it is a horror to behold, with tentacles sprouting from its head and jaws like some sort of primordial beast. The ruins of Galantry City sit on the edge of some of the ruined city within the Rift of Razud. The earth fissure was the result of a massive earthquake at the end of the siege of Galantry City in AC 1018 to 1023. The immortal Razud was killed by 3 of the invading alien immortals, Babelos, Chavol, and Stias, and Galantry City was destroyed. At the bottom of the fissure is a dark fungal force filled with dark alien creatures best left to the imagination. The rift was created before the Belkades crater, no date for that event yet, but whenever it happens. Northwest of all Galantry are the lands known as Royaume d'Ater. These legacy lands of Galantry are ruled over by newcomers from the alternate dimension of La Terre. The old broken lands are even more broken than they used to be, and most of the old humanoid strongholds in the region now lie in ruins or have been claimed by bandits, monsters, refugees, or even the bleak. High Gobliny fared the best in the western half of these lands, although both the Red Orklands and the Trollhättan survived. The Red Orklands are now ruled over by a female blue dragon of unknown origin named Yralfa, Yrlapha. Although she only asks for tribute of flesh from the Red Orcs once every 5 years. She appeared in the Old Broken Lands in AC 1086 and has ruled over the Red Orklands since AC 1092. Trollhättan is much as it was before the Devastation War, although the trolls there are younger and meaner. Asmar, also known as the Grand Duchy of Asmar, but only by its own people, were once part of the Streellands. Or I should say, the township of Asmar was once part of the Streellands before it broke its alliance with the Fae of Azurwind and went independent in AC 1140. The Duke of Asmar, a man named Tristan Bonechaser, is thought to have either orc or hobgoblin blood in his ancestry. Duke Tristan holds sway over Asmar with an iron fist and a velvet glove. Soon after he took control of the township, he went on a building spree to create a stranglehold on the headwaters coming down from the mountains near the valley of Kyr. However, much of Asmar remains wild and unclaimed, and Duke Tristan hopes to lure young adventurers to his banner so he can push his Grand Duchy deeper into the borderlands of the old Broken Lands, as well as annex the barony of Gaon, the county of Steffberg, and the Spurwatch Knighthold. The mountain realm, simply known as Chanthir, is the main opponent to Asmar in the region. It is a mysterious land ruled by powerful sorcerer monks that came to the world in AC 1082. These Chanthirians prefer to keep to themselves, but Chanthir has continued to grow slowly over the last century. The town of Rithir is the only known community within Chanthir's borders and is believed to be made up primarily of humans. The realm's borders are protected by soldiers stationed at one of the towers known as the Three Lions. The sorcerer monks of Chanthir do not like Duke Tristan, and the feeling is more than mutual. Duke Tristan considers the Chanthirians to be just more alien invaders. The Chanthirians' politics have always been peaceful, but they will fight for their lands. New Corunglan and the Zywolf lands are two closely intertwined lands that were founded after the Devastation War. New Corunglan is a land of survivors. It takes its name from the nearby ruins, which was an old city of old Darokin. But not all who lived within that city are descendants of the original Darokinians. There are a handful of Theatin families from what was once the kingdom of Karamikos, as well as some low-born Galantrians. They are not as numerous as the Theatins, however. The Zywolf Lands is a land full of bitter dwarves, elves, and gnomes, as well as fae, who are vengeful towards both the alien immortals and anyone who accepts the idea of their followers remaining on Mystara. Zywolvians can be quite suspicious of people from other lands other than New Corungulan. However, the Zywolf Fae usually have good relations with the Desert Fae of the Streellands. The two allies hold the line between the old Broken Lands to the west and the newly risen kingdom of Tharheim to the east. That kingdom, mainly of orcs, humans, and goblinoids, is ruled from Tharheim City in the center of what is called the Angmor Crater. Orcs always rule in the kingdom of Tharheim, but other races aren't forbidden from joining the kingdom, which means its communities are quite racially mixed. There are dwarves living alongside orcs in the Dwarfgate Mountains, and gnomes living in the Duchy of Dreamfall. Kobolds live as nomads in New Call and have dealings with the nomads of the Streellands. Old racial hatreds aren't as big a deal as survival versus the followers of the alien mortals. However, elves and Hin are not welcome in Tharheim. This makes Dreamfall the baronies of Fenbrook and in Lashar and the counties of Slinar and Zodden highly contested versus the Ten Shires and Zywolf lands. The kingdom of Tharheim is the first line of defense for the lands to the west from the alien realm known as the Dictatorship of the Broken Inferno. Those lands are what was once Rockholm, but are now in the hands of the followers of the alien immortals. The peoples of Tharheim take their position as defenders of the West very seriously, although they rarely come to the aid of the Ten Shires. For while there is an outline of a rough mutual defense treaty between the Ten Shires and Tharheim, it isn't formalized in writing. The demi-humans and the Fae of the Zywolf lands would rather die than ever ally with the orcs of Tharheim, which is one point of contention between the Zawovians and the citizens of New Karungalan. The land of the Fire Blossom is what is left of the Enthgar Khanate, which isn't much. Most of the region is now unbearable deserts or poor grasslands. As well, the region is tainted by the cast-off of many dead alien immortals, which has corrupted many of those who choose to live there. There are parts of the land that are untainted, and those regions are hotly contested, but all take shelter when the massive sandstorms roll across the lands. These Sirocco winds can burn the skin right off a person. More will be written at some point about this. I wrote all this a long time ago. I think it was around 2019, and I haven't really gotten back to it yet. But that is the Tharheim region. I'm going to also do a reading of the Streelands, but that went into more depth into that, so that might actually be broken up into 2 parts at some point. But that is the Saturday Night Stories. I know if you're one of the comic book guys, you're probably wondering, what the hell is all that about? But I hope you enjoyed it regardless. I thank you very much for watching. I hope you're having a great night. And look for more either about the world unknown, or maybe I'll do something for my main campaign setting, World of Kulan, next week. All right. Thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a good night.